can't join us and then they want to review or listen to the recording later. I know that Kendall was tentative, and I haven't heard from Candy, and she's usually pretty active. So he's recording now. I had intended to be traveling. I needed to be in Oklahoma City today. So I asked Joe Lyman to host with his link so that he could control it if I was meeting or in a meeting. But of course, all of that travel has been canceled. And instead of sending a new link, we just stuck with the same one. So we'll have Joe record the meeting. But in light of everything that is happening today, certainly sales are a major concern in our industry. Having enough sales to bring in enough revenue to make payroll specifically. And so now there's even more pressure on owners and on sales managers to try and make that happen. So I really wanted the discussion today to focus on those challenges and how we can help each other to move forward. I'm going to share my screen really quick. I had one of my staff members build a graphic, and we're going to do a series on social media to try and promote print. Hang on, let me get it going here. Well, hang on. Planning to with the other PIA affiliates as well, but it's not finished, but it will look like this. In the midst of social distancing, let print be your handshake, with details about the fact that the economy, we can encourage the economy to grow by printing catalogs and postcards and mail them. The post office is being specified as an essential business that will not close, so people could continue to print and mail and then follow up with a phone call to close those print projects. Certainly all the proofing for the most part can be handled either virtually or with a courier or delivery to get those to them, to see what we can do to try and help people realize that is the way to avoid the coronavirus. You really don't have to be in person to sell if you're using print. So as soon as we get this complete and ready to go, I'll share it with all of you as well. And then if everybody virtually on social media shares it, maybe we can turn the tides on this issue. So with that, I'll open it up for discussion.
Well, actually, we just had that same conversation here yesterday and this morning about just trying to talk to our customers, you know, as much as we can about, you know, since no one can meet face to face, you got to send something physical to represent your company, represent your product, and so on. And how we're trying to get our customers to maybe do some more direct mail, you know, catalogs, postcards, whatever it may be. We're going to send out a direct mail piece probably in the next 4 days to our customers really quickly, stating the same thing. And then we're going to follow it up with the, you know, PDF to all the salespeople so they can call their customers, because, you know, we don't have people's home addresses. We only have their business addresses. So we want to send it to the business, but yet follow up with, you know, phone calls, emails, and so on to try and hit them either at work or at home. But it's that same principle that you have, honestly, is you've got to have some sort of like physical representation of your company and your brand. So print's a great way to do that.
Yeah, how can we turn a negative into a positive? So maybe if we just go around the table and have everybody kind of give an update on what they're seeing. Members in my region are kind of on both sides of the fence. I had one that laid off 22 people yesterday because the majority of their clientele is with the restaurant industry. So all the restaurants, of course, are not doing any business, and they saw a huge amount of cancellation in jobs. We have another that says while a lot has been canceled as it relates to upcoming events, some of that's been replaced with coronavirus materials, and so they're kind of balancing it. We have one that does a lot of lenticular work, and it's dried up overnight because it was really very specialty, and so they're struggling a little bit. But hopefully this group can come up with some great ideas to turn the tides and talk about how print can really save the day in a situation like this. How are things going in your area?
Teresa, do you want to call on an individual and then does that individual speak? That way we don't have to self-select.
Terrific. That's great. And so, Jason, you were talking about, ideas that your team was going to do. Let's have you go first.
Yeah, so we've seen some work canceled already, quite honestly. Anything that involved a trade show. Trade shows are either canceled or postponed indefinitely. So anything that involved the trade show, we've seen canceled. And what we're doing here, honestly, it's kind of like what I just said about trying to promote print as a physical presence for your, a physical representation of your company. I just told the sales staff, I said, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. So you just got to keep on your customers, keep trying to develop new stuff, whatever you can do. I told the sales staff, I said, listen, I said, we're a company of 53 people. I said, everyone here is relying on us to support their families. I said, so there's a lot of burden and a lot of pressure on us to support everybody. And I said, you have to take that very seriously. And it's not a lie. So, that's kind of what we're doing. We haven't, other than trade show related materials, we haven't seen anything drop off yet, but it's going to happen. I just think it's a matter of time. Right. In fact, I think the big three automakers just announced they're going to shut down for 2 weeks. So that's going to have huge ripple effects. So that's what we're doing right now. We'll see.
All right. How about Mike? How are things there in the Northeast?
So we just had our first confirmed case of coronavirus in our city. So that is, everyone is crazy about it. We have sent all non-production folks home to work from home. So we kind of saw that coming. We had prepared, made sure everyone had the phone app so they could get their office phone on their cell phone, made sure everyone could log on to the server from a laptop or their PC. So we were ready when Monday, when the governor and the president said no more than groups of 10, start shutting things down. We were able to send everybody but our production staff to work from home. So we actually got a Zoom internet subscription. So we can now have meetings like this that last longer than 40 minutes. And we are using that nonstop. So all of our customer service reps are logging on for that, for the morning production meetings. So we've actually increased the level of internal communication, I would say exponentially, even to the point where we're just sending silly selfies of ourselves working from our sunroom or a bedroom to the rest of the workforce so that they see, hey, we're still there, that sort of thing. And trying to reduce the isolation that comes with social distancing. From a work standpoint, we're seeing the same thing Jason is. Our sign work is actually through the roof, but we support a couple of hospitals. And so we are printing a lot of COVID-19 materials. We found that some customers are really liking the fact that their offices are empty, and what a great time to do the branding on their walls because it doesn't disrupt their workforce if we are taking over the space for a short amount of time. So that is good. We believe there's an opportunity for small temporary trade show materials for remote work backdrops, right? Maybe something could be behind me that has the H&H Group big on it so that anytime our customers are having these face-to-face, we're really business to business, not business to consumer. Going to Jason's standpoint, I could mail everybody something, but it's going to sit in their office for 3 weeks and they'll never get it. So that's tough. So we've decided not to do any mailings. And instead I am pushing my sales team and holding them accountable to lots of phone calls. not even emails. Everybody's emailing right now. I want phone calls to their customers. And to the point where we're going to divvy up all of our past 18 months of non-assigned customers. So anything that came in as a house account or miscellaneous or the CSR just worked on, we're going to divvy those customers up among all the CSRs, give them talk tracks and scripts, and have them be calling those customers as well. Just to let them know we're still here, we're fully operational, we're ready to support them. They can reach out to us via our normal communication means. I see, based on the people that are on the video, that I am the only one working from home. I thought that was interesting. I thought I would get to see everybody's sunroom today, but not so, not so. We are doing that. We're going to start working on doing creative for our customers for their social and email posts. We don't normally do that, but we think that that is a possibility at the moment. And then just because it's slower, we're going to make sure that everyone ups their game on their LinkedIn and their social media posting, right? Start doing that on purpose. But for us, we're seeing that it's less reactive selling, right? No, usually you can stay pretty busy just with the calls that are coming into you. And we're finding that's not true. We are having to physically make those calls and do it. I mean, we've done all the stuff of looking at who are essential, who's not essential. We've already cut all of our overtime for our production staff, with the exception of the sign department, which just needs overtime. And we've talked to them about the possibility of layoffs, right? If it continues to go soft, because we want to save everybody's job. If that means a temporary layoff or a reduction in hours to save people's jobs, we want them to know that we are looking at that stuff and making sure that we are all on track and on the same page. So, I mean, we're very proactive. We're meeting as an executive team every day just to make sure that we're all on the same page and moving forward and encouraging us. I made all the salespeople call their top 20 customers, their main contact, and now it's going to be call the other contacts, right? So I have a customer that has like 60 people that buy from me because they don't have one centralized buyer. I'm going to call all 60 of those people just to let them know I'm here for them. It's that kind of selling.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Thinking about sending some fun toilet paper options to some of our clients. Have a bakery make some special treats. But in all seriousness, you know, there appears to be no end in sight at the moment. We've postponed our events. We have big galas coming up in April, and we intend to host those eventually. But for now, we don't know when. It's likely not going to be May. It'll probably be summer or fall, because May's probably too early. And when people say, what will the date be? I don't know yet. We need to get through the next 2 weeks, and then hopefully that will give us some light at the end of the tunnel. Trey, how about you? How are things going with Slate Group?
Slow. So kind of what we did, we met with our entire company and then kind of just discuss, hey, we're day by day kind of looking at it. We cut all overtime and then trying to, we cut all temps as well. We used to have a lot of temps in, so they'll be reduced. And then basically yesterday we kind of cut limited travel. We have had a couple people, our mailing director and his sons actually works at Bindery. They were in Vegas not too long ago, so they came back. We're going to let him work from home. I've got a sales guy that was in Houston not too long ago, so he's actually working from home. And then I think it's going to kind of start seeing more people working from home. I think that's kind of how we're going to start doing things, mainly because with the school closings, like K through 12, with kids, I mean, how do you kind of make that work? And so we're going to kind of get creative on our shifts, maybe watch your kids, for our production people, watch your kids during the day while your spouse is working, and then maybe come up and work at night. So we can still kind of keep production rolling. So we're getting kind of creative with that. Even people that are kind of self-quarantined at home, for like hand work and like hand inserting and hand converting, we're probably going to maybe go leave some jobs on their doorstep, let them handle it while they're at home, and that way they're not having to eat up all their PTO. They can kind of get paid, and because that's what our biggest concern is. If everybody goes home and starts using PTO, and then get sick in July or August or something like that and can't go on vacation. So I don't know, we're kind of getting creative with it. We sent out an email to all of our customers yesterday, just kind of just a general statement, just like all the other emails that you're getting bombarded with. We saw that turned out really good for us. I got a ton of responses, a lot more responses than some of the marketing emails that we send out. And I've heard from one of our clients that they actually forward that on to their clients. And so it's been good. And a lot of people appreciated just having a statement out there saying that we're working and we're doing everything we can on our end. It's just, sales has just been slow. I just got a cancellation on a job. I just converted a job and everything was good to go. And then 10 minutes later, I just got an email to cancel a job. So we're getting a lot of jobs that are getting canceled for events, things like that. Our sign shop, kind of like Mike, it's fairly busy. We've got we've got pawn shops, National Pawn Shop Company. So that's kind of a good thing, because a lot of people are not going to have work and they're going to be selling stuff. So the pawn shops are going to be kind of ordering stuff. Chick-fil-A signage, because Chick-fil-A shut down their in store. So signs for basically all the parking areas. We did those yesterday, and some other kind of just wash your hands signage. So looking at that, trying to figure out right now, working with our marketing girl, trying to figure out how do we kind of market. And so we're throwing out ideas of how do we push direct mail, how do we maybe come up with some ideas to kind of get some ideas into our customers' heads to say maybe like top 3 ways to market your business during this situation. And so we're trying to figure that out, and maybe it might be discounting. I hate doing discounts. I hate doing sales because we don't sell on price. But maybe doing something maybe kind of like the airlines of saying, hey, if you mail anything in the next 2 months, we'll waive inkjetting fees or something like that. Just kind of give it more of a push to kind of help get over there, or give a percentage off on anything that's coronavirus related for signage or posters or anything like that. I don't know, just trying to get some work in there, because like Jason said, I mean, my biggest concern is taking care of our production people, because I think that's going to be the next thing. We start with overtime. Next thing's going to be reducing hours, and so we got to save the company, and so that's going to be the main thing. So, and then getting creative. I think with people being self-quarantined and all different things, I mean, people got to work. At the end of the day, they still got bills to pay. So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm curious. Keep on listening, and maybe we can brainstorm some more.
You could offer 19% off.
There you go. A bottle of Corona with every order.
Nice. Trey, are you letting your employees take time off without pay, without penalty?
Yeah. So if they want to take off, because there's going to be some people. We actually, just like you, we had our first case of coronavirus yesterday in our entire region. So it really was been just playing as being cautious, and then now it's kind of hit the fan, and so people are a little bit more nervous. We're letting first, if they want to use their pay time off, great. If they want to go unpaid, we understand that as well. But yeah, it's almost kind of case by case basis right now.
I forgot to mention, we do let people go home early, right? So if you're working in our fulfillment center and you are out of work, you can go home, right? You can use PTO for 2 hours or an hour instead of 4-hour blocks or that sort of thing. We let people go home. We're a lot more flexible with that during this time.
While I know it doesn't affect all of you as sales managers, most of you are pretty closely involved with ownership, and from PIA and the affiliates, we've been doing a ton of work gathering data on what's happening on the employment law side. I can tell you that it is lawful that you are permitted to check temperatures when employees come to work, as to not expose them to somebody who has been ill, but that you have to do it very, implement a proper procedure to do it, provide training to employees who are checking the temperatures, and make sure that you have a recheck option, because of course there's human error when you're taking temperatures. What you cannot do is enforce that they have to use PTO. That's not lawful at this point. On the Hill, PIA National is involved heavily in the recommendations for the FMLA Families First tax credit. What I understand is the first 10 days of FMLA can go unpaid, 10 days or 80 hours. But after that, they have to be paid 2/3 of the regular rate, and then hopefully the subsidies from the federal government will kick in to cover that. So, of course, there's lobbying happening on the Hill as we speak to let the government know that small business in our country cannot cover the cost of all of that. If it's up to 12 weeks, that's a huge amount of expense that would be extremely difficult to fund if there's not business coming in. It's hard enough to fund it if there is business coming in, let alone if there's no business coming in. So that's what I know on those provisions, and I'll keep you posted as I understand it. Our sister affiliate in the Northeast in New York has hosted webinars for us on the coronavirus and kind of how it relates to employment law. Mike, you should have gotten an invitation from Melissa Jones. There's another one tomorrow at it'd be 2:00 Eastern, 1:00 Central. It's actually a pre-recorded program. It's pretty good, just to observe and understand, how far you can go in one direction or the other without getting in trouble. But we're talking about, staff you don't have to lay off, but you also can't force them to do certain things either. And
yeah, Kite.
Work. Go ahead.
It's Scott. How you doing? One of the things I learned today from a furlough perspective is that, and I can send this link out to you, that you are allowed to change for salaried employees, you are allowed to change your work week, let's say from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week. As long as it's across all departments, across all salaried employees. So you have to be, and I can send the information, you have to be very detail oriented in how you communicate this to the salaried employees. But again, you are allowed to cut back your work week from 5 to 4 and then pay them accordingly for that. So instead of a 40-hour work week, you can make it a 32-hour work week, as long as you stick to that 4 days, and then they don't come in that other day. And then what they can do, and I think this is on a state-to-state basis, but I believe most states have it, is that those people, you can apply to your state for a work share, and then the work share allows those employees to file for unemployment for that one day, and they get a portion of that time back for unemployment. So if you are running into a trouble and you don't want to lay people off, you can change your work, like I said, from a reduced work week, which that way, everybody feels the pain across the whole company, and then obviously helps you just manage from there on forward.
And that's legal with salaried employees?
Yes.
They're paid back to 4 days?
Yes, but again, you have to do it across the whole company that's salary. You can't pick and choose and you can't, you have, I'll send you the link. I don't know the exact wording, but it has to be from, like I said, it has to be very consistent.
Terrific. So Scott, if you reply all or send it to me and I'll make sure that the whole group gets it, that would
Yeah,
be
that's
great. I
fine.
think that'd be
Yeah, I mean,
a
that's,
valuable resource.
yeah, that, I'll send you both links. I'll send you the, I'll send it from the United States Labor Department, whatever it is. I have the link that talks through it. And then I can send you, I'll send everybody the Maryland link from the WorkShare from the Maryland Employment Office for unemployment, and see if there's something in your individual states for that. But the WorkShare thing, from what I understand, they actually like that from a state perspective, from an unemployment perspective, because one, you're almost making the employee whole, right? From a week perspective of their pay. The employer's not laying anybody off. And then in turn, when you're not laying somebody off entirely, it reduces the overall liability that from a state benefit perspective. So that's why they implemented that.
Interesting, very interesting. So while you're up, tell us how things are going there. I know that New Jersey, New York, they're having a tough time, depending on where you are in what part of those states. How are things for your company, Scott?
I think it's the same from what everybody else is saying. I mean, we sent out, as a company, Matt sent it out. We sent a letter out last week, earlier this week. Maybe it was last week. I'm sorry, all days are blended together. Basically, to all of our customers, prospects, about what we're doing as a company under the circumstances. We're still open for business, letting them know we're still here for them. We have implemented our sales department, our e-com team, our creative team, and our digital marketing team to work from home. For the next, and we're going to do it in 2 weeks, increments to see how this thing goes. We have seen a decent job count every day over the last week. We have obviously seen a lot of cancellations in just our seminars and different parts of our business. But, we do have a lot of online subscription businesses, which are going to actually uptick a little bit because people have to stay at home. We do a lot of work in the healthcare hospital system. So that work is hanging in there. But again, I think that the problem with everything is, and I had a meeting today with Jay Goldster at the Printing and Graphics Association. The way we're looking at this is, as a company, we're going to start implementing things we're going to try to in the next week, right? We're trying to get ahead of this, knowing that it's just eventually that we honestly believe they're going to have major work reductions, mandatory ones, like the auto worker union. I mean, they're going to start putting things into place. So we're trying to get ahead of it, because you can't get time back. So unfortunately, we're trying, we don't want to do layoffs. So we're looking at these other options without laying people off and going to shorter work weeks and things of that nature to just try to conserve cash flow, because we're going to need it.
Absolutely. Candy, how about you? How are things there in Florida?
Well, I think it's a similar picture here as well. Our largest client is Advent Health, and we work with several divisions here across the state and a few out of state. So in that regard, the business is fine. The other side of it is that we do have a very large chunk of our business that is rooted in tourism. Big surprise, right? We're in Florida. So all of those clients, actually all of our clients but one, are moved remotely starting on Monday. And some of them have already enacted furloughs for their staffs. 90, that depends on the company. Some are 90 days, some are, 6 months, it just depends. And, we have seen a fair amount of canceled work, only because, we're 4 miles from one of the largest convention centers in the US, and have been impacted with that as well. Sales are definitely down. Inquiries are definitely down. Leads are definitely down. But we are rallying the sales team. I mean, we still have work. We do have work coming in, which is good. It's just, of course, not at the volume in which we need it. So we are making adjustments and preparing to really kind of make our changes next week. We are going to cease our second shift and all overtime, and that'll start next week. As well as we've moved, all of the sales department is completely remote except for one individual, which if you were on the call last month, it's the gentleman that's relocating from Wichita, which he's living with a friend here. So he would just rather be at the office. The rest of the other 9 sales staff are all working remote, and I have set us up on Microsoft Teams. And I don't know if you guys are using that. It's very, it has a functionality similar to Zoom. I think they embed Skype in there, but it works like, it's so easy to use. It works like a charm. You can share documents, you can collaborate. It has a chat function. It does give them a sense of camaraderie still, now that they are truly stuck, working independently, because they're not going out and making visits. They're not going to see clients. So we are certainly encouraging them to, as Mike said, make phone calls, but as well do video calls. Keep your meetings, do a video virtual meeting. And we have a couple of tours scheduled. We have asked and worked with the clients to make those virtual. So we are going to use YouTube Live so that it has an element of interactivity to it, so that people can ask questions along the way during the tours. So we're still doing that type of activity. And then our productions, yeah.
Make sure the folks who are doing the tours have some level of microphone in their ear.
Yeah, we actually, for on-site tours, we have headsets we distribute. So, so yes, it gets very loud back there. But, much like I've heard you guys echo, we are really pushing the direct mail side hard, and the benefits that brings. Dusting off an old channel that maybe a client used to use that they haven't used in years, or embracing a brand new channel for them. We're building workflows and sequences in HubSpot that we're deploying to the team this afternoon to enroll prospects and clients into, to just have that conversation and start that conversation. And then we are also, oddly enough, manufacturing our own hand sanitizer. So we are sending out packages to really our top clients. We are getting their home locations, home addresses, and we are sending them hand sanitizer. So in promotion of our new label and flexible packaging division. So it's kind of twofold for us.
Do you have a bottle right there that you could show us?
I don't have a bottle on my desk, but I'll take a picture and send it back to the group.
You want my address?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Hey, maybe I will send you each a bottle.
How about the recipe at least?
What's that?
The recipe.
Yeah, the recipe. Oddly enough, it's really easy, and you guys probably have all the same chemicals. It's isopropyl alcohol, which we have by the vat back in the back, because we use it for cleaning. It's 2/3 that and 1/3 aloe vera liquid or a gel, whichever you can get your hands on. And we have so we've bought that in vats as well. So, and then we found the bottles, the empty bottle stuff online, and we just ordered those. So we are doing that.
That's a great way to get your customers' attention. Send them some hand sanitizer and a roll of toilet paper, and they'll be like your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. One of the salespeople wanted us to throw in a thermometer, and I'm like, okay, really? I don't know that I can get them here in time, but I'll try. Outside of that, in the direct mail focus for sure, be sure to include in your communications, the post office released a statement. I just got it like an hour ago, talking about, that the coronavirus cannot sustain itself on mail pieces. So, be sure to include that in your communication, because some clients might be hesitant. you know, it wasn't that long ago that we all lived through the anthrax thing with the, there you go, she's got it. There's the
That's
statement.
awesome.
Yeah. So make sure you include that in your language. And then we're also focusing, we do a fair amount of fulfillment. We don't really have a huge amount of subscription box business, but we are gonna have a focus on that here for the next few months. We've got a couple of projects on tap that look like they're gonna come on board. And we've oddly enough had a lot of inquiries about packaging and labels for products. You know, normally these clients would get these products overseas, and now they're looking for a local supplier. So we have seen an uptick in that as well. You know, it's just, you know, it's much like you guys, we don't want to lay anyone off. We certainly, you know, want to be mindful in the decisions that we're making, and, you know, and we're just we're operational until we're told we can't be. And that's, you know, we're pressing forward. So that's
Certainly there's a very gray area at what's seen as essential business. And it might come down to the state or local level, but for the most part, what I've seen is manufacturing is considered essential business. Mail is considered essential business, and that you should try to move ahead with it. I love the spin that bringing products back home that can be produced here that they can't get overseas right now is really valuable. And I like the team approach too. It made me think, while we don't use Microsoft Teams, and many of you guys may not be Microsoft users. If you're not, we use a program called Slack. My team is virtual already because we cover a region, but we're communicating with each other really all day, every day in a software program called Slack that you can get on your phone, and it's super easy to use. This is kind of what it looks like. So everything is filed in channels down the left-hand side. And then, for instance, I was talking to Heather, she's in Dallas, and she sent me a message, and Josh a message that said final edits to this. So you can upload and download files, and you can link to other apps. So you can send individual messages. So I have a message from Kristen coming in and one from Tanya that aren't related to a particular product or channel. Yeah, so we put all of our webinar communication in one channel, and then everybody knows to go and look for it there. I love this program. We implemented it really because so much our internal communication was happening via email, plus everything that was external, that we moved everything internal as much as possible to Slack. And I think we used it for free for a long time. Once you get to a certain level of messages, I think we pay $40 a month unlimited, but it's fabulous. And it's linked to all the other apps. So we have it linked to HubSpot and to Asana and to my Outlook calendar and OneDrive. And so it'll tell me what my calendar looks like for the day and where my are, and it'll tell me what tasks I have in Asana or in HubSpot, and who completed the task in Hotline or in Asana. It's I love it.
Yeah, I hosted our first really virtual sales gathering this morning. We had a brainstorming session between our team members to figure out, you know, to really get an update on the pulse, and, you know, because they're not in the office, what's going on across Central Florida, like what are you hearing, what are you seeing? So I did the video, I used the video within Microsoft Teams, and I have to say, but at the end of the meeting, it was about an hour, because then we did some brainstorming. Okay, what are we doing moving forward, and that kind of thing. And my oldest team member, who's in his 70s, who hates everything, right, spoke up and said, you know, I have to say, this is the best thing ever. He said, how frequently are we doing this? Because this meeting was great. And, that coming from, the eldest member of our team who doesn't adopt any new technology or new anything, really worked well. And then one of my youngest members said, hey, the 2 sales meetings we do a month, we should do one in person and we should do one like this. He said, this thing is awesome. Because, our sales staff is so used to being in front of people, they don't ever get pushed to do video conferencing or anything like this. So it's a very new world for them. And which they all just loved it this morning, and we're very much thankful that we took the time to do it. And I encourage them to communicate with each other. Just because you're not sitting at the desk behind me doesn't mean we can't have the same conversation. So
I'm assigning all of my salespeople the task of creating a web meeting and inviting me.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something that they each have to do within the next 24 hours, so that I know they know how to do it.
That's good. Yeah, we had to work through a couple of challenges this morning, but for the most part, it was very successful. So as you guys start to push out, I don't plan on working remote unless we officially shut down. We pushed everyone else who could go remote. And then we have the core management team is here, as well as our production staff. So, yeah.
Okay.
Fun times.
Yes. Kind of forcing us out of our comfort to learn and use new things, but also consider how we can use old things that we've done before.
Yeah.
Certainly, this group has used Zoom for a long time. It's probably been meeting virtually for a year or more now, and many of you gave tours of your plants via Zoom. Can we
love that ceiling tile there?
Yeah, we saw your ceiling tile.
Sorry.
And it looks like Mike's taking us on a tour of his house now.
Mm-hmm.
Around with his
I'm
laptop.
out of my office, and there's some signs back there. I like the ones that
Sell
they
some
go-
shit.
they sell
I love
some
it.
shit.
That's great.
All right, we have 3 on the call. So Jerome, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you go next.
Okay. Yeah, so internally, we came up with a document we're sharing with the teams. And we're talking about what the symptoms are. And essentially the idea is make sure you know your surroundings. The other thing we did is kind of just show them how these things spread. So some of that same stuff you're seeing everywhere, right? At the same time, we're showing everybody, and we documented it to everybody, what we're doing to prevent any kind of spread here, the cleaning and the different things we're doing just to make sure that our shop is clean. We, believe it or not, we actually had a client that came today to do a press proof. And this client, it's a school. The school is shut down, but they're still working in their office. But he wanted to come down. So he's been the one out of several that have already canceled. As far as clients, we've had several jobs canceled. And yeah, we're hurting on sales as well. We had a client that does the cleaning of the floors for the NCAA basketball tournament. And we were mailing out a little piece of hardwood floor and a marketing piece for all their clients. And as soon as the NCAA said, sorry, folks, park's closed, they canceled that job. We have a company that was getting ready to do an open house for all their beauty supplies. And they canceled it. It was in the first week of April, so they've canceled it. We've already had the entire job printed, so we're going to destroy. And now, hopefully, that'll come up again later. So we're, from the client standpoint, we're doing a couple different things. We did send out a direct mail piece, and then again, we put it out on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. So they're kind of getting it from both sides. At the same time, and maybe this is just me, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I guess I almost feel like I'm getting numb from all of the the media. I mean, if you turn on the news, right, every single story is Corona this, Corona that, Corona this. The schools in Kansas are canceled. They shut them down for the year. So kindergarten through 12th, they're done. So I've got a senior in high school. He went on spring break and now he's on summer break the next minute. So there's just so much. There's a lot of, I think, Teresa, you may help me here. I think we've got 12 in Kansas, 11 in Missouri, or vice versa, and it just keeps growing. So there's a lot of symptoms and a lot of cases here. Last night or the night before, they shut down restaurants and bars, so they're not even open. So it's a huge impact here. But at the same time, so I like I started saying, I feel like I'm getting numb with all of this information. I got probably 10 or 15 emails yesterday that said, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing, you know. There's a great post on LinkedIn. A guy said he got a note from the online banking, from his bank that said, hey, you know, we do online banking. And he's just like, you know, I'm not going to name the name of the bank, but hello, Captain Obvious, you know. So to me, so what we did instead was this morning we posted about team. Hey guys, we're all in this together. Take the high road, you know, essentially we're all in this together and we're going to get through it together, you know. So more of that positive note instead of saying, hey, here are the symptoms, you know, because you're just getting bombarded with it. So we kind of took that different approach, and we're going to continue to do stuff like that on LinkedIn and Twitter. As far as going back to the sales that are down, we're drafting a note and a communication internally to talk about to everybody. Everybody sells, you know, and selling is part of that customer service and how you delight a client, right? And take it to the next level. You know, the empathy, obviously. So we're working to see who's got ideas of other things we can do. So we're kind of doing internal brainstorming and challenging everybody to bring in something, you know, even if you're an operator, you know people out there, what are they doing? We've had several meetings canceled. A lot of our clients won't even let us in the building. So we have started the video calls, and we're trying to do more and more of that. Trying to think what else. What I miss? I think that's it. That's some of the things we're doing.
How's it affecting business? Would you say work's still coming in the door? Is most things dried up? What do you see?
A lot has dried up, but on the flip side, we had a client that wanted to send out a coronavirus direct mail piece. So that was a job that came in because of this. But like I said, I've seen 3 or 4 jobs just in the last 2 days that have canceled because the event's no longer active. So we're seeing more cancellations than new business.
Yeah, so many marketing campaigns or event or specific conference details that have been canceled. I think others have seen that as well. Before we go to you, Bill, I wanted to ask if everybody has seen that link to USPS or if you want me to send it to the group.
Please send it to the group.
Okay, I'll send that. And then Scott's thing and anything else that you guys have to share, I can kind of gather up and send it. And Bill, if you'll share, go ahead, Scott.
I apologize. I'll send you that stuff too when we hang up so you can put it all together.
Terrific. Bill, are you with us? You want to go next?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So my little business world changed quite a bit on Friday. I happened to be out of town and trying to read emails. So one of our largest clients is Tuesday morning, and we had 6 million pieces on the dock ready to be loaded into postal trucks, and another 3 million pieces that will go into newspapers for newspaper insertion. Already printed, everything already done. Actually, it was already entered into the post office because we entered ourselves in our facility with the call of don't send anything, don't mail anything. Tuesday morning is a little bit of a unique standpoint. They're not really an online company. You can't buy their product online because they're a surplus company. So stores have all different things and it changes constantly. Why we're talking now, I just got an email from them saying that they're already canceling next month's run. This is a contract that we have for them. We do their newspaper inserts and the direct mail pieces. So they've just canceled 2 months in a row. At least I'm going to get the revenue from the first one, I hope. My biggest concern is I have 180 people here, and I think we are all going to be in trouble with customers paying bills. I don't think they're going to pay their bills. I think we'll eventually get paid, but I think that they're going to, if you're a 30-day payer, you'll be lucky 90, 120 days, because everybody is going to take and try to keep their cash to pay their own employees or to pay what they have to do to continue their business. And I have 180 people that I have, so I have quite a payroll that I have to pay every 2 weeks. And that's the thing that scares me the most right now is my cash flow situation. So what do we do about that? The owner and I, a while ago, have tried to team up with our top 25 customers where we build relationships directly with those people and have an ongoing where we talk to them on a regular basis besides the salespeople talking to them just to check in. So we divided that up, which we each have assignments on each one, and called them up and said, hey, how can we help you grow your business during this time? What are you planning on doing? And obviously it was a long conversation. And by the way, how are you planning on paying your bills? Are you planning on continuing paying your bills? To our surprise, most of them at least said to us that, yes, they plan on paying their bills. I don't know if I believe it all, but that's what they said. But what it did also do is, in my opinion, is that if they are going to restrict who they pay their bills to, because they promised us they were going to pay their bills, I have a better chance of getting paid than somebody else does on that list of not what I would call non-essential suppliers to them. So I think that worked. We didn't get a lot of feedback. I mean, they're all, I think still everybody's shell-shocked in our business where they think they're going to do the same things, but they're not really sure. But cash flow is my main concern. We already contacted the bank see what we can do on a larger line of credit. Now's not the time to do that. We should have done that before, and that's our mistake, and we'll never make that mistake again. But the problem is we don't use a lot of line of credits, and if you have a high line of credit, you don't use it, they pull it from you, so it's a catch-22. As far as the company goes, I was late for this meeting because I was in the executive meeting right before coming up with an A, B, and C plan, which is what we're doing. We're right now, this week, we're looking at who we don't have anybody working remotely at this point, other than the salespeople, which pretty much work remotely anyway. But we're looking at estimating production coordinators, trying to get them working remotely. Maybe have a team where we have half staff in those office areas and have them work one day and not the other day, and then go back and forth. So that's short term. Long term, we're coming up with plans, just like all you guys have just said. Are we going to need to have layoffs? Are we going to need to have reduced hours? Coming up with different scenarios based upon what we think our cash flow needs are going to be, and what we anticipate a loss of business. But we're not going to do anything quickly on that right now. I just want to have a plan, so when we make that decision and we know what's going to happen, we already have it in place in our minds.
Wow, I didn't think of the email, are you planning to pay your bills? I would assume that they are, but obviously if we're asking up front, maybe that's a way to move your payment closer to the top of the list versus ignoring you.
Yeah, we have
that
here. Here at Ironmark, we have somebody all day long making phone calls for AR.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the first decisions we made. We're going to conserve our cash. So, we have a reputation of discounting every single bill we get, and that's not going to happen right now until we get through this, and so I can manage my cash better.
Good point. Good point. Joe, I'm going to call on you and ask if you'll kind of give an update from your region, what you're seeing across the Great Lakes area, so we get a better feel for, I know we don't have a lot of representation from the West Coast, but from Central America to the East Coast, we have a pretty good representation on the phone.
A lot of our members have lost, obviously, work that promotes a particular event. I think Jason was talking about that, happenings. Unfortunate part is I talked to a printer about maybe a couple days ago, and he had already lost $400,000 worth of work since the beginning of the month. And in fact, that 400,000 is not even, from the beginning. It's basically the last maybe week and a half. One of the things that we're concerned about is people leaving the industry. There are particular jobs that are continuing, like, road building and construction. And, there's a big fear that people lay, like say bindery workers or people in post-press services off. They're just going to hightail it to another industry like they did in 2000 or 2008, where we had to lay people off. And, it was really tough to get them back. In fact, a lot of people didn't. And there's a lot of people concerned that they're going to go and work in an essential manufacturing or construction industry that, they don't come into close contact with a lot of people. Road building is one of the ones that a lot of people left the industry and went and did. And there's no end in the number of infrastructure budgets right now. They're already in the books and the government's going to pay for them. And it's just kind of a tough time right now because we may be in a catch-22 where, we're going to have to lay them off. But when we do, we know they may not come back to our industry. So we're pretty concerned about the longevity. The short term, everybody can manage the short term. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things, whether you banks or controlling cash flow or laying people off or whatever it is, but the long term could be pretty significant for us.
I mean, the president talking about July, August, the sign behind him said 15 days to stop the spread, but he's talking July, August. And since he's an over the top optimist, I bet we're talking more September, October.
And it's the warm months, it's, the height of the construction season. It's just starting here. Weather's consistently above 30 degrees. So we're more concerned about the long term. Short term, again, we can manage, but the long term is going to be it's going to impact our industry in a big way.
Yeah, it's certainly a concern. Who was that comment?
I was just going to say the work's going to come back. It absolutely will, and it'll be pretty I think pretty impactful. But if there's not people there producing it, boy, we're gonna really have a devastating effect.
That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be back, and in August, September, that's when we get really busy. So I mean, it's going to be good, but it's just how do we hold on for that long? And then and that's where we're trying to look. What are some creative ways that we supplement it just to kind of help us inch along through there? And what are some other supplemental ways to kind of stay busy or get some type of work maybe out that we've never thought of before?
So,
order that aloe vera.
Yeah, right. Hand sanitizer manufacturing and toilet paper manufacturing, it's where it's at, man. One thing that hasn't come up that we do have a concentration on, and in fact I have one rep focused on it solely, is the political mail aspect that is pending through the rest of this year, with the primary election looming in November, because of the impact that this virus has had on all of the large gatherings and town hall meetings and what have you. We are pushing that fact more now than ever to say, listen, you've got to reinforce these digital messages that, voters are hearing, and what better way to do that than with direct mail. Political season is already huge, but I could see that being significantly increased this year.
Andy, we've been looking at the same thing, that the political mail, and there's one agency here in Kansas City that kind of drives a lot of those. We're just having a hard time getting in front of them.
Yeah. We've gotten in front of a few of them already in like less than 48 hours, which I was amazed at, and have gotten some great feedback from them. And we're moving on some pricing for 2 of them right now. But, you know, I would encourage all of you to look locally, you know, find whoever's managing that work in your region and go after it aggressively.
Are you a union printer? Do you have to be union to do that?
Just the Democratic stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say not for the stuff that, you know, the agencies that we're targeting are more Republicans. Not that we wouldn't work with a Democrat, but we run into some competition here locally with a shop that does use the union bug. Unions are not a big thing in Florida, so they're pretty much non-existent.
Just be careful with the political stuff. Just make sure you get paid. Kind of echo.
Oh yeah, payment up front, postage up front. I've been down that road.
Because I was die cutting 250,000 door hangers for Bloomberg the morning he dropped out.
Oh.
But luckily I had a credit card, so as soon as he announced it, we ran the credit card for work to date.
Nice.
And I sent the invoice to my customer, and I said, "We're gonna keep going if you want, but you got to let me know." And they said, "Nope, stop."
Yeah, stop.
That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure you get paid.
And then there, you know, as things begin to level off, you know, looking and fast forwarding this, you know, the real estate industry is also one that is kind of on our radar. You know, with everything, you know, everybody coming through this, and real estate prices will surely, you know, decrease. It could be a good opportunity for investors. So we do have a few real estate clients that are already jumping on the direct mail bandwagon. So that as well.
So this is the webinar that I was talking about that's going to be 1 o'clock Central tomorrow on responding to the COVID-19 virus. If you're interested, I'll include this in the information that I send to you guys. Yay or nay? Yes. Okay. Do that. We're really at an hour now, and we kind of just got around the table. Does this group want to try to meet again before the next month's meeting, which is April 15th?
I say yes. Let's meet in a week or two even and talk about how things, right? It could be a really short conversation. Is everything the same? Yes. Okay, bye. Right? But the way things changed from last week to this week, last week I was talking about buying another business. Right? Right. This week I'm talking about how do I prevent layoffs, right? So things are changing so fast. I think we should meet at 2 weeks from now at the very latest, even if it's just for 15, 20, 30 minutes, where maybe we don't do a full go around, but is there any hot topics? Does anyone have any success with the tactics that we've been talking about today?
Yeah, I like that. And then even, I was going to mention, I think I mentioned this to Jason the other day, you know, even if like HR directors, they're going to be it's going to be tough on them. If y'all, I'd be more than glad to connect my HR director with any of y'all's HR director, just in other roles as well, maybe production, stuff like that. Just maybe if you just need someone like for some clarification on something, or just, hey, what do you guys do? You know, like production or something like that. What do you guys do? I'd be more than glad to connect our people with your people. If that'll help out, just kind of help as we get through this.
Yeah.
Well, and this is a great network. We're really going to promote the networking aspect across the country. So if one area is hit hard or printing is considered non-essential and they're forced to close, let's not stop that work from being done. Let's ask partners, network to other areas of the country that aren't hit as hard and keep that printing going. So if you hear or see of those conversations, definitely reach out to each other or to your affiliate manager or myself and utilize the network that we have. I mean, we really have feet on the ground in every city across the country.
Teresa and Joe, do y'all expect anything where they'd be saying, hey, you guys can't, like, shutting companies down? Or do you think we do fall in that essential where they want it?
So I think in our region, Trey, I'm seeing mostly it's essential and not forcing that shutdown. But I think what's coming next in this area is going to be hair salons and things of that nature where there's a lot of touch points and you're in really close proximity. I think that also could change. Like Mike said, if we go out 2 weeks and it continues to get worse, they're going to look at other industries and say, now you're non-essential too, and you're non-essential also. So it could happen, but today that's not the case. Joe, how about your region?
I mean, they're still saying, less than 10, and a crew for most printing companies is 4 for a web press, and even less for most other processes. One of the things I want to stress is it all comes down to testing. They need to get these test kits out to everybody. So if there's anything you can do for your politicians or local elected leaders, get those test kits, promote them to get the test kits, because the test kits are going to what helps us isolate those cases of coronavirus. The sooner we get that done, the sooner we get back to business. And that's what we want. We want to get back to, manufacturing print and getting it out in the mail and distribute it to our customers. So
to go to Trey's question, I have a customer that's based out in San Francisco area and for direct mail, and they said everyone is basically under quarantine or house arrest. He said, but the direct mail printers are exempt from all that. So I hope that is countrywide. We'll see. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I will, you guys name the time for the next meeting. I'll make sure I book at least an hour for it, because like I've said before, I learned a ton in these, and I'm not just going to limit myself to like 15, 20 minutes, because honestly, Mike will take that off. So I'll just book an hour, and then whatever, I'll be around.
So does it work April 1st? That's 2 weeks out at 1 p.m. for the group? Because it could be any day, really. If there's a Tuesday or a Thursday that's better for you. Not that anybody has a lot of travel going on or anything.
Let's do it.
Works.
Okay, I'll send you guys an invite unless there's any conflicts.
No conflict.
April 1st at 1 p.m.
Sounds good.
Any last comments before we end the call?
Wash your hands.
Knew that was coming.
Candy, I have a text message I'm going to be sending you. You're going to laugh.
Okay.
It's a great picture.
I really
You're going to love it.
I really appreciate you guys, and I'm glad that you're willing to be part of this. It is, if nothing else, it is nice to hear that in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, things aren't so different than they are everywhere else, right? It is nice to have that reassurance that I'm not in a bubble of awfulness, that we're in a giant bubble of awfulness, right? So that
Mike, I think you're on to something, because I'm getting rid of my TV set because I'm sick of watching it.
Yeah, don't watch TV.
Yeah, no TV since 2001. It's amazing.
I'm going with you on that one.
Yes.
Until
All I have to say is
sports get turned back on.
If I have to be in quarantine, I have a boat. That's where I'm going.
Well, this is a great group. If you have any insight or something that you feel like you've learned that should be shared before we get to April 1st, feel free to email the group. I'm sure everyone would appreciate that as well.
Will do.
Excellent. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for
Guys,
Be safe, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.